everyone, Tiffany Rachel, and I am excited to show you this. I got this email today from Adobe, and they're like, hey, you're off the wait list, here's Firefly. So I wanted to show you the splash page of it, and this is what it looks like, super fun. Text to image to me looks like something like how Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, Midjourney, Night Cafe are all like handling things. You type it in, boom, spits back an image. This one's interesting because it's just dealing with text, fonts, recolor vectors that are coming soon. It says create unique variations of your artwork from detailed text descriptions. So I guess you upload your own thing and it recolors it for you, which would save you a lot of time, perhaps. Get Inspired looks like it's some examples of what can be created and what their prompts are. In Exploration kind of looks like maybe a little video I could watch. And so in Painting, that's super, super cool. In Painting is one of those things that Midjourney does not have yet. Maybe, I can't remember if they talked about that that's something that they're going to do, but they do have a small team of developers who are working on like improving other things, so they have to focus on one thing at one time. I learned these things through watching or listening to them on Open Offices every Wednesday at 3 on their Discord. And in Painting is one of those things that like I really love the ability to manipulate it, which is why to manipulate an image just like partially with the algorithm, just like focus on that one particular area. Like for example, my fiance and I, we took our wedding photos before our wedding. We just wanted to do a little photo session. And there were trees that didn't have any flowers on them. Well, if we had photographed them at a different part of the year, they would have been in bloom. So I just wanted to isolate those trees and put the flowers on. I did use Midjourney for that, but I basically created the tree, popped it out, isolated it in Photoshop, and then Photoshopped it on, like kind of like old school process. So I think what In Painting is doing is going to be able to let me just import my image, manipulate what I want, and then it spits it back. I'm assuming that the quality is as high resolution as my original image. That would be the whole idea. I wouldn't want to reduce the image quality. But In Painting is something that I will go back to Night Cafe for, but I don't find here's Night Cafe. Night Cafe is super cool. Initially, I started using it. This was the first one I began using. I typed in art generator. I didn't know what I was looking for. I just knew that I had an idea for a book in mind, and I wanted to maybe see if I could create my own artwork using text. Again, controversial because I didn't, open up my Procreate app, or I didn't open up Photoshop and create each little brushstroke by hand. I'm just trying to get across the idea. Sometimes I'm not selling the art. Sometimes I'm selling the idea. And I think that's another really good point to bring up about what the real purpose of AI art could be for some people. So I can use Stable Diffusion here. I can use 1.5 or 2. The Stable Diffusion XL beta is still in beta mode. I haven't put any prompts in here yet, and I'm not going to right now. I guess I could later. I have 3,200 credits, and honestly, they're accruing because I can't spend them fast enough. I download my 5 free credits like every day. But then I don't use them because, I'm sorry, but I use my Midjourney almost daily. So here's my Midjourney. I have so many categories. I have my collections here. I try to keep it really, really organized. And I have my sections, my upscales, and I do my silly photos and I do my serious photos. I make concept art for friends, for my clients. And I try to come up with original, unique stuff. Somebody wanted to see some Darth Vader stuff. I try not to get too, in the style of. I think that's where a lot of the controversy started. Like, I try to make original content that nobody's ever seen. Like, Pixar is a style, but the character itself could be unique. If I were to say something exactly like Darth Vader, it would have to be unique in its own sense, like a parody or something. That's kind of how you work around that, or just not even work around, but like respect the original artist. There's always that gray area because, in creating art like this, well, all this art came from my imagination. My prompts are really long, and I take the time to think about them, and I want to use some of these. I'll probably use maybe 1% or 2%. I'll share maybe 5 or 10% of what I've created. I've created probably like, I don't know, maybe there's a count somewhere, but like thousands. I have thousands of art that I created in my cafe too. That maybe could be cool concept art for my, my future books, because they're looking really amazing. And it's not to take any credit away from artists that could do that. I could do that. I do have that ability. I've used Procreate for years. I can, go do in painting again, or digital painting in Photoshop like I've done before. But I really want to experiment with new mediums. Photoshop is a tool. Adobe Illustrator is a tool, and these new AI art generators, as they're called, are tools. So, not trying to convince anybody. I already know, like, if you feel that way, like, most people already have a feeling of these things, whether they, you're either for it or against it. I feel like there's almost like no gray area. You kind of like already have an opinion about whether you're offended by this or you're totally in love with this stuff. I'm of the effect that I am in love with this stuff because I'm an artist and I love seeing how like new stuff gets out. It's all about how you use it. If you're not using it for bad or evil, if you use your skills and tools available to you for good, that's my goal. That's what I try to do for everything. Extend image looks so cool. So say you have an image, like when I'm out in the field photographing, I try to make sure that I have plenty of like, white space or negative space around my subject. Meaning like if there's like a couple in the forest, I'll back up or I'll zoom out enough to get them all in it. But say they want, they want that picture on their, I don't know, cell phone screen, and the aspect ratio is like 9:16 or whatever. So like being able to extend the image and like the edges, that's so cool that I don't have to. It's really fascinating that the computer can kind of just like imagine what the rest of the world would be. Probably they have enough data. Maybe they're sourcing from that exact spot. But here we are. 3D to image. I, during COVID, was trying to teach myself Unreal Engine 4 so that I could potentially learn Unreal Engine 5 when I was let go from my job that I was at for 5 years, right after my mother's funeral. I wanted to learn and teach myself video game design. I still kind of want to do that, but I don't know like where to get hired for it. I was thinking maybe I would make my own. 2D is my thing. I was trying to step out of my comfort zone, and if there's a way that I could create these things that I have in my head, 2D, 3D, whatever, I want to try it. So 3D to image, maybe I'll get into that. This is the first time, like I said, I'm seeing all these things. I haven't played with them yet. I haven't looked at them yet. I'm just seeing what Firefly is all about, and I wanted to share it with you because I literally just got this link today. So exciting. Text to pattern, that's cool. So pattern making for people who like maybe your textiles or making, like marketing and branding collateral. Maybe they have like a brand and they want to make like a cute wallpaper for it for their branding, branding guides. Text to brush. I generate brushes for Photoshop and Fresco. I don't use Fresco. Maybe that's like Fresco means fresh in Italian, and it's like a style of like fresh painting. So maybe that means maybe there's like a program out there that does painting and it lets you from a detailed text description. So you can like text like what brush you want, like maybe like I want hair or something, and you can create like an asset, like something like an asset that you can download and put into your brushes. That could be cool. Like maybe you could like make a neon brush, like all these brushes that people have out there for like Procreate and Photoshop. You can make your own now. That's kind of cool. Sketch to image, pretty straightforward. Probably upload your sketch. These all say in exploration, meaning I imagine that this is, in beta mode. This just came out. They're just now rolling this out to people who have, a few at a time are on the list. I don't know how I got chosen. Maybe I was in order. Maybe they saw my work. Doubt it. I was probably just in order. And it would be fun to to start using these things in exploration, meaning like they're probably just letting the people they've sent this to test it out. Oh, cool. and see what people start to create. It's going to be such a huge boom that I feel so bad. Like the people that have like they're genuinely upset, and they have a right to be upset about, saying, you sourced my artwork without my permission. I suppose that's a genuine, thing to be upset about if you think of it that way. But just the same way that if you were to go in a museum and you went in the museum with like a canvas, your paintbrush, and you started painting the Mona Lisa. If you're an artist who can do that, you can source inspiration from anything in this world that you see. Which is why I feel bad to say, somebody said to me, "Oh, Tiffany, your photography is out there. Wouldn't it be so sad if somebody took your photography and they made photography that looked just like yours?" No. No. If they had taken literally exactly my pixels, what I had worked on, grabbed it and put exactly those pixels in their website and just like removed my watermark or safety mark and said, "Yeah, this is my work now," that's plagiarizing. But if they use my work as inspiration, if they take my concept or idea, if you don't want your concepts or ideas to be stolen out there, I mean, if you have an airtight litigation team on your side that can police every single thing that you find that is infringing upon your intellectual property, do that, win your cases, and create the type of world that has structure for this. Because right now it doesn't really have a legal structure. They're developing it right now, I think, because of what's arising. And then what's unfortunate is the people who are creating or who are about to create the laws for this, that's a whole topic, but the people who are going to create the laws for this don't really know this world. So we're leaving it into the hands of lawmakers who may or may not understand these concepts, when really, if we wanted to protect this style of this boom that's happening, this like insurgence of creativity and taking ideas and feeling inspired and making stuff that looks like stuff that we love, it would really behoove the art community to create things that don't necessarily wade in the waters of other people. And that's just on a small scale. I'm not talking about like corporations and, Midjourney's going through it right now. I'm sure there's like some legal, "Oh, you're using my stuff," and everyone's up in arms about it, like pitchforking and things. This video is probably all over the place. It's just kind of like a throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. It's just kind of stuff that was coming to mind. I really just wanted to, the whole point really is just like, I wanted to share how cool Firefly is, but also I wanted to tell you guys about what I came up with today. So fun. The thing that inspired me today, which is so funny, somebody that has a subscription to Midjourney must have prompted something like spaghetti yeti, something totally silly. And I think they were talking about how Midjourney was having difficulties like creating spaghetti or whatever, but somebody's like, "Look, it does a great job." And it's like a yeti that's literally like formed with spaghetti. It's just so silly. So I was like, what would be funny? What if there was like Betty spaghetti, like Betty White, like Betty spaghetti? Or what if there was like Bernie Mac, like mac and cheese? I don't know. I don't know where my ideas come from. I just thought that would be hilarious because of like the spaghetti yeti thing. So I started doing like, it's probably on the Midjourney. Hold on. I probably did. I don't think it was successful. It wasn't coming out. Like Betty White did not happen at all. And look, what I was hoping was kind of something similar to the spaghetti yeti, like where it's little, like Betty White is literally the spaghettis, but it wasn't doing it. And then Bernie Mac, it's like just him with a bowl of mac and cheese, and that's not, it's like a beautiful portrait of him. R.I.P. Buddy. But so it wasn't working. But then I've been doing photography and graphic design since the year 2000, and food photography is definitely in my portfolio. Do I have it? Yeah, here. Here's my website, my retouching. I have food photography in there that I've done for numerous companies, KFC, um, Bagels with Deli. Give them a little shout out. They're like my favorite people ever. And here's my food stuff. So like this is actually food. This is like I went to a restaurant, I photographed it. I've done a few like different styles. I like to do kind of this like top view, some natural looking lighting, and then I do like some journalistic stuff like in motion, macro shots, stuff like that. Just try to show like my capabilities. But now, but now, I want to start offering maybe like the concept of something like this where it's created in Midjourney, but the client doesn't have to necessarily like have me come out, take me, pay my photography rates. Maybe I could give them like a slightly, I would cut them a break based on like, they're not paying my hourly rate. They're not paying for my assistant. They're not paying for my lighting. They're not paying for my editing. All that stuff is kind of taking away with Midjourney. And I'm embracing that. Like, the work needs to exist. And somebody might need a bowl of macaroni and cheese. And do I really have to go through the process of photographing, or is the client okay with a totally generic bowl of mac and cheese? Like maybe it's like an I Love Mac store or something like that. And you don't want, look, if I were to break this down, like for a day rate, for the set and the props and everything, it gets wild. Unless you have something absolutely like unique and proprietary, like maybe you're a sushi chef and you create like the most insane artwork. Still, I think maybe I could like ask Midjourney to prompt exactly what you make and see what happens. If you didn't like what was coming out, I could still offer photography services to you. And then we go back to the standard traditional photography. The only way I feel like I'm actually losing out in business is if the client, for some reason, like teaches themselves this, all the stuff. Like I spent months educating myself on like how to make prompts, how to make it bend to my whim, like what's going on in the community, joining Facebook groups and joining Instagram groups and seeing what the community is making, like listening to office hours, I listen to office hours every single Wednesday. It's on at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and it's basically like in the Discord channel of Midjourney. So I try to keep us up to date on just getting an idea out there. I feel like people get really stuck on how they make their art, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm saying some people want to make art the way that they're used to making it. That's cool. That's their thing. And their clients will continually come back for that thing. It's authentic. It's handmade. They put their like blood, sweat, and tears in these things. Like I did for photography. I've done for illustration. I've done for calligraphy. I've done for like bouquet making. Like anything that's creative, I just absolutely love it. Digital art. I mean, there's just so many ways to express like the thoughts that I have in my head. And like a friend of mine, he just moved into a brand new house. It's so cute. And I had the idea, like I was like, well, what about if you had like this, honeycomb cool thing, like kind of like your tattoo? And he ate it all up. He loved it. He loves this idea. I don't want to sit there sometimes and just, work hours to create a concept. I just want to get the concept delivered quickly. I went to the house. I was like, look what I got. It's a log back in on my iPad into Midjourney on a new device than it did to generate this stuff, which is a riot to me. It just like shows about like devices and passwords and stuff. But like the point is, like if I could just let people have a projector into my creative brain and show them, that would be fine with me. Then I wouldn't even need Midjourney. I wouldn't even need this or that. Like I just put my thoughts up on a projector and then transfer information that way and transfer thoughts that way. Like maybe one day we'll get that, like that movie. Oh yeah. That movie AI, Steven Spielberg's movie AI, like the one alien like touches the next alien and then they literally like the information just like goes down the line. Like that's what we should be attaining. We should just like touch the next person. Okay, got it. Like no miscommunication. That would be like the most blissful utopia that I could ever live in. Like somebody's like, sometimes, Tiffany, what's your biggest wish in this world? Like what, if you could have anything in this world, what would you want? And I would say, like I could just say something to somebody once and they're like, got it. And there's no miscommunication. That is like my biggest struggle. Okay, so what I wanted to show you that I made is, okay, if you want to like cut to this part of the video, part 2, I made this, and let me hide some of these things so you can see it. I wanted to show my design skills in Adobe Illustrator. Where's my trim view? Yeah, it's trim. Okay, so I use these dividers in between each of my, here, I'll show you where I use it. I'm sure I have like one viewer now. I feel like sometimes I talk like, you know, Tom Hanks out in the movie Castaway, when he's just talking to Wilson. He's like, Wilson! It's literally like nobody listening to this. I feel like 0 people will be watching this entire thing through, just because whatever. But I have like 6 Instagram accounts. I have my Tiffany Rachel photography, which encompasses like photography and design. I have my books, The Last King, The Last Queen. I have my Tiffany Rachel design, which is all of my interior design concepts. I did get over a year's worth of education and experience with restoration hardware. I had to let that job go to care for my father. I'm pretty much his full-time advocate, and that's a whole thing. If anyone has questions about like how to care for your elders, that's a whole journey. This is something I do in between all these crazy things that I have to do and choose to do for my family. So this divider right here, where it says acrylic pours, I use this like 3 grid divider to keep my new Instagram accounts organized. Typically, when I first started using Instagram, I would just post whatever, and I didn't really have a rhyme or reason. Then I started making new accounts, and because I'm visual, I'm very like organized in like an OCD kind of way, which I think is helpful, like to convey clear messages for other people. Like it's kind of like a mishmash in some people's heads, but in others, like if you can convey your information clean and straightforward, then it transfers easier. I'm just trying to reduce the miscommunication. So I make these silly little things, like cute little pictures in Midjourney. And this was honestly just me like experimenting with Midjourney. I was making cute little anthropomorphic doggies wearing cute little things. And then I actually got a few commissions. Some people were like, please do my pet too. So I did theirs. Glowing little guys got a huge response. Like hundreds of people were like liking this stuff. I love this guy. Little old wise moth or something. People are like, what are your prompts? Some I share, some I don't. For this one, somebody was like, what's the prompt here? And I was like, I helped that person to come to their own prompt. Similarly, there's like one word in particular that really gives you this kind of look. Maybe you can think of what it is. And here's my book. I know there's going to be such a huge boom in children's books right now. This one is mine. It's going to get buried so far down in the bookmaking process. And maybe it will take 30, 40, or 50 years for somebody to be like, oh my God, I appreciate this book. It started out with the inspiration of the Bloopy inside the Breath of the Wild game. And so I created little pixies, and I created little characters and animals. And then I put them on this page. So this page is called Hummingbird Imagined Art, or hummingbird.ia instead of AI. It's kind of a play on that. And these dividers right here, I create them myself in Illustrator because I have like 20 some odd years of Illustrator experience. And I wanted to kind of show you, maybe you can skip forward to the video now. I wanted to show you how I make a divider for my Instagram accounts because I do this all the time. A lot of people think, oh, because I'm getting into AI art, I don't do anything by hand. That could not be further from the truth. I work so hard on my prompts. It takes me many, many iterations to get to the result that I'm looking for. Then I'll go back in and Photoshop some of them, sometimes not. And like for the book, I'm putting that all together myself in Illustrator. I should probably be using InDesign, but I'm not, whatever. I figured there were like few enough pages. Okay, so back to Yeti. This is how my brain works. The Yeti spaghetti, or the spaghetti Yeti, was an inspiration to me to like make the Betty Spaghetti and Bernie Mac. They should be like a couple dating. So I was like, okay, well, actually, that's kind of an interesting idea. I got something from Midjourney that did not look like what I asked for. It just looks like a very beautiful photograph of something that's like super moody. I would totally go in this direction. I would use this as inspiration to set up a real photo shoot in life if I wanted to base some stuff off of this. But I thought to myself, hey, maybe my client might be interested in something like this instead of having me come out, paying the whole thing. So I texted her today and I was like, hey, what if you wanted like something like this? Would you be interested in this? Like not having an actual photograph, but like just, I mean, they're a deli. They sell stuff like, you know, bagels and schmear and stuff. So it's not like a proprietary thing like their branding would be, basically like what's around it and like the background and things like that. But the food itself is like, it's a bagel with schmear. So like maybe she'd be open to it and like at least just like in her marketing or something. So I was like, well, if I want to make a new category, then something like this, like where my acrylic pours, these are all like not real models, by the way. If I wanted to make a whole section for food, I was like, it's like not real food though. I said it in like a second to myself, and this is how fast my brain comes up with puns. I can't believe it's not food is like my perfect header for all the AI food that I'm about to post. I'm gonna go through Midjourney, see what I can come up with. Maybe I'll play with Night Cafe, see what that's all about, see what I can get, if they're comparable. I'm so familiar though with Midjourney, I would have to do a refresher on Night Cafe. So, okay, this design took me, I would say like 45 minutes because I like thought about it, I changed some stuff. If I had exactly this to recreate, it would probably take me about maybe 20, 30 minutes. And let me take away the trim. So I'm keeping, so you guys can see my artboard, how it is that I do this. So the way I create my files is you can see that here's acrylic pours, and then there's canine royalty, and then there's little glowing guys, blah, 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 etc. So I have each of those headers on a separate layer, and you can see them here, and I've labeled them. So like little glowy guys, that's my header. Oh, I didn't do people of color. That was going to be really cool. Like basically like colored people. Actually, I think I changed people of color. It's like a play on words, like because they're painted in colors to acrylic pour Vogue. I just thought not enough people were going to understand like people of color because they're like painted with fun colors. I just didn't want to have to explain it. So canine royalty is there, acrylic pours, and then my new one, I can't believe it's not food. So I wanted to show you how I came up with that. Number one, the ratio of the Instagram headers is like 15 by 5. Obviously, it's like, let's just pretend a box like 5 across. So 5, 10, 15. So 15 by 5 is my artboard. And then, where is my trim? Okay. But I have it on trim view, which is like if you're going to show a client, maybe they come over, look at your like live changes. I don't do that much anymore, but you can put it on trim view so it doesn't show all the messy stuff on the artboard. And here's when I click it. This is like my actual working file. This is called a working file or a source file. This is like where the text is not outlined, where you can still edit your text instead of like just making it look like shapes. And I first was gonna just recreate the I can't believe it's not butter logo itself. And when I pulled it, it was kind of cool. I was like, okay, I'll do this. But then I wanted to find out the font, and then I found out that this packaging right here is a slightly different branding from their just logo in general. Like the food, the font color was different. The background was different. The first one like had a sunburst, and then this one has like this pretty watercolor thing. So I started with a Google search. I Google searched, I can't believe it's not butter logo. And then also the packaging came up as well with that. And then I typed in like, what is the I can't believe it's not butter font? And that font is actually made by Letterforms, LMF, sorry. anyways, just if you Google it, they'll come up. They are so amazing. They are paid fonts because they are based on like old school fonts, and their work is incredible. I've known that website for a while. I'm so sorry, but the font, the Alpine, it's called Alpine font, is the I can't believe it's not butter font. I don't know if it's this one, but you can basically, let's see if I click on this and if I can type something. One of them, I can't remember which it was. Sorry about that. But like you can just basically grab, you can type in what you want it to say, get an idea of what your font would look like, and then download it. So basically, like say I had typed in Magnolia. You hit Command-Shift-4, create a screenshot just around that selection if you're on a Mac. PC, I don't think has anything that off the top of my head. Like it's already built into the computer that way. So you probably have to just find a way to like screenshot a little section. Then it shows up on my desktop. I put it to show up. And then, so I have it here. So what I wanted it to say was, I can't believe it's not food, but I didn't want to like sit there and type it out and pay for the paid font. So I grabbed this image trace, create something that's similar. If I'm going too fast, you need to learn about image trace. You can ignore the white here, expand it. I'm doing like a bang up job. Obviously, I'll like change some features there. And then boom, you've got it vectorized. Why I like to vectorize it is because now it is a vector and it is very clean and sharp on the edges. So essentially, this whole, divider here is, I could send this to a client right now. If they needed this for whatever reason, it's 100% professional. This is what I did and do for a living. So, for this. So what I did was I basically, I did that step for the I can't believe, and then I typed it again for it's not, and then I typed it again for food. And I lined it up with the artwork so that I could like scale it and put it in place. This image here, I just grabbed it from Google and I locked it in place by Command-2. Then I kind of made it funny. So right here, it says 100% artificial. Instead of 0% artificial, it's 100% artificial. And then 0% photography or lighting equipment, which is like the idea. This little graphic of a buttercup, which is so funny that I can't believe that it's not butter. It makes total sense that they have buttercups. I went to freepik.com. I love Freepik. Thank you so much for like just silly assets. Like I just want to design stuff like this, just get an idea across. I don't necessarily always have a paying client yet. It's just getting stuff across. And so that website is super, super helpful. So I put in one of my own. And then instead of the, 45% vegetable oil spread, which is not really bad. It's like vegetable oil bad. Whatever. Sorry. Sell your product. Whatever. I don't buy this product, but it's just funny. I put 100% hummingbird imagined art because that's me. And then for down here, it says like net weight. I changed it to Midjourney version 5. It's like a little tiny, just a little nod. So thank you for creating the artwork that I can post. And then I made every little asset here. It's all movable. I tried to find similar fonts, and I went with Gil Sans for this, and then added my little lines. All these are movable, and they're all vectors. The last thing that I didn't get, I didn't want to touch this for some reason. I wanted something unique. I tried initially, was this background. This background is actually from Midjourney, and I typed in something like, pale yellow to pale green, ombre, blades of grass, similar to the background of artwork on I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. And I swear to God, this is the artwork that came out, and it's so pretty. I almost want to put it on something because like it's just wild. Here, I'll show you what it is that came out. Let me grab all this stuff and move it. Oh, I locked that. Unlock all. Lock. So to lock and unlock stuff, you just hit Command-2, and then to unlock, it's like Control or Option Command 2. Let me lock that down. Anyways, I just want you to see the background because I had to actually make it look how pretty. And then I added my little sunburst on it, and it's just adorable. So it's so similar to the actual background on the packaging. It's just so cute. So yeah, I thought that was a little cheeky, a little tongue-in-cheek. And the grid. So I create a separate layer that I lock called grid, and it's basically like the left, middle, and right. Like each time you upload something, it's a square, and then you upload the 3 in a row. So you have to upload this one first, and then the middle, and then the left one, and then that's how I get it up. So actually, I haven't done that step yet. I feel like it's kind of done. I finished. I think there's no spelling errors. And I can always like do it really quickly again if I want to, but I think it looks really good. So I make sure that everything is like how I want it to look, lined up in the grids properly. Uncheck that. I grab a section up in the corner, drag the whole mouse across. Okay, then I will select all, hit Command Shift O to outline, and then Command Shift S to hit save. You go to, your favorite folder. I like to keep things super organized, so I have it within a few folders. Then save it as a PDF, and I've already done that. Then you go to that PDF, or at least I do, and then I drop it into Photoshop. And as you can see, it's 15 by 5. I keep the resolution at 300. You can drop it down to 150 or 72, whatever, but it's so small. Now, I use my crop tool by pressing C on the keyboard. Make sure my aspect ratio up here is set 5:5. Click on the artboard and drag to the right. Enter, enter. And then save this as, let's see, where do I put it? I save this as number 1, and then the center is 2, and then the left is 3. Because it goes, that's how I upload it. So this one's 1, save it as a JPEG. Undo. Save the center as number 2. As a JPEG, save, enter, hit undo, and then drag to the left, click and drag to the left. Enter. And then save that as a JPEG as number 3. You hit the right arrow to just automatically pop to the end of your sentence there. Save, save, and now that's done. If you're done working with this, what I do is I hit Command W, and then I don't save. I don't need the working file for that. And then I kind of, yeah. So now here's my 3 headers, all looking nice and professional. And yeah, it looks awesome. So where is it? What I'm going to do first is, before I upload the header, obviously I need to input more content. So that was going to be the rest of my plan today. I think I already have, do I already have Firefly on my Discord? I don't know. Do I have to make it in Discord? Let's just learn. How do you access it? Visit there for beta access. We're approving. Will I get access? You received confirmation. Yes, I did. I got an email. Is Adobe Firefly a Discord bot? No. Adobe Firefly is the new family of creative generative AI models. You cannot generate text-to-image results directly on Discord. Will Adobe Firefly be part of Creative Cloud? At first, Firefly will be integrated into Adobe Express, Photoshop, Illustrator, and Adobe Experience Manager. The eventual plan is to bring the Creative Cloud Document Cloud, and Experience Cloud applications where content is created and modified. Who can access Adobe Firefly? Anyone who's got an ID. Yeah, okay. I gotta go find my ID. And then it should have like automatically inputted, but now I gotta find it. Can I share Adobe Firefly images outside of Discord? Yeah. You're welcome to share what you create in beta on social. I guess they mean social media. We encourage you to use the hashtag Adobe Fire. Okay, so basically what they're saying is, hey, if you make something and say like something like Midjourney, please use hashtag Midjourney because that's where you made it. Kind of same thing. If you make something in Adobe Firefly and it looks pretty fly, then use a hashtag Adobe Firefly. Like basically don't say that I spent hours making this when you make it in Firefly. Just be honest. Note the output in beta is in the beta period and is not yet for commercial use. So that also means you do not have permission to sell anything. And probably you cannot put your safety mark, watermark, logo on that. So initially, in the beginning, I was putting my logo on, like my hummingbird logo on Midjourney stuff. And then just like I got some understanding more about what Midjourney was, and it's not really something you can claim, although you can sell your works if you have a subscription. Those are in your account and you can sell them. But it's open. Like somebody can easily go into something that I've made and take it, and it's open source. So we're all making concepts and ideas and experimentations for each other. So it's kind of like if you understand the concept of the community, it's different than just like saying I made this, because as you can see in prompts, anybody can like use a celebrity's name and make like a baby version of them, or make a Star Wars version of them, or make a, you know, the concepts are all kind of like starting to blur together, and some things like get popular really quickly, and some things are, you know, come and go, and then everybody uses that prompt, and then it's like novel. Okay, so I'll do my best to play with something. Maybe I'll make another video at some point of like something I made or how I made it. That's pretty. It's still really painterly looking for me. It is reminiscent of Night Cafe and how they do that, but Night Cafe at least sort of struggled with putting, you know, characters with large landscapes. Maybe they handle that a lot better now. Really don't know. And yeah, I think maybe I'll have fun playing with it and then stitch it together. And we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. One person. Bye.